Republicans. There's a guy, Leonard Lance, in New Jersey, who put on his website, some people put up on their websites his constituent mail, in which he boasts, hey, don't worry, this is actually a wealth transfer from most of the rest of the country to the coastal elites. He said it moves money from Ohio and Pennsylvania and Missouri out to New Jersey and California.
It does.
Yeah. So we've got people who, frankly, I won't miss them. And,
well, they're pirates, but there's also some other people in the Republican leadership supporting it.
Well, Lindsey Graham is the only... Well, okay, here's our problem in the Republican Senate. Lindsey Graham is, according to people in South Carolina, vying to be the Secretary of Defense because Robert Gates is on his way out. And to do so, he's ingratiating himself with the Obama administration by pushing cap and trade as a bit of a proxy for John McCain, who even this time is not supporting it. I say yet, but at least he's not supporting it. So Graham's working with John Kerry and Joe Lieberman to find tripartisanship on this, but Graham brings no one with him. And he's considering himself not even running for re-election, as I understand. I could be wrong. The guy I'm more upset about is Judd Gregg, who's done nothing publicly, but quietly, from Senate sources, I understand, is making noises about wanting bipartisanship uber alles. It's more important that we find bipartisanship than what really is in the bill. We're seeing that.
The country is plunging into a double-dip recession, into possible depression, and we've got a globalist world government agreement, according to Ban Ki-moon and Herman Van Rompuy, the head of the EU. It openly gives 2% taxes on GDP, taxes to foreign banks, IMF, World Bank to run it, a global UN authority over air travel. This will annihilate our economy, and we've got senators who are for it because it's a new tax.
Yeah, but we've got people who really... They've been there too long. Judd Gregg's retiring, and he's generally a decent, as far as these things go, member of the Senate. But he thinks that bipartisanship before he leaves is very important. I disagree. This is the biggest tax increase in American history. The president said that the purpose of it was to cause your energy prices to, quote, necessarily skyrocket. That's not a side effect they're working on. It's the point. He's admitted this. He said,
well, what about Maurice Strong's quote in 1992 about it's our job to destroy the industrial society?
Maurice Strong, that was his fantasy of a novel character, but that's actually how he feels. I've testified next to him in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and you'd never know. He's this very unassuming-looking man who holds these terrible anti-population, anti-growth, anti-development views that are pervasive among the people pushing this energy rationing scheme.
Isn't this really all about eugenics? At the bottom line, a bunch of control freaks want to be able to decide literally what you eat and what you do and how many kids you have.
All about? No, but I will say this. The population zealots, the pro-state, the pro-tax, the anti-growth, the anti-development, anti-property rights, the persistent communists, the fallen communists, they're all on this. So I can't say it's all about that. The global governance types love it. There's a bunch of rent seekers, GE, Duke Energy, Exelon. They're all looking to pick your pockets in the name of...
No, I understand there's a giant ship of pirates, but at its core, from my research, the rationale of the big elites supporting it is we got to cut off people's energy. I mean, look at the communist Chinese last week saying, we'll sign on to this if you have a global one-child policy.
Right. In fact, China even, I think it was 2 years ago at Bangkok at one of these negotiations, said that they wanted to sell us carbon offsets. I have this in Red Hot Lies, by the way. No one else has covered this except one public source where I found it. The Chinese proposed getting carbon offsets recognized under Kyoto to sell Europe and us, derived from their coercive family planning policies. What they said, Alex, was our emissions are now at X, and they would be at 1.9X if we didn't have our policies in place. Therefore, these are emission reductions. They're not. They're emissions avoided by rather cruel totalitarian policies, but they wanted carbon offsets. And the UN, this group that runs Kyoto, the UNFCCC and the Europeans, thought that was a wonderful idea because that's really what a lot of people are in this for encouraging. Of course, there's no doubt. But there's not a universal motivator. Remember, Enron got this thing going. I know this because I worked for Enron at the time. In 97, they told me it was my number one priority to get a global warming treaty internationally, exempt India and China because they were building coal-fired power plants there.
Oh, is that how you woke up, Christopher?
That's how I got into this, yes. I was innocently practicing law, and they told me that I was director of federal government relations for Enron for about 3 weeks, and they told me to do this, and I told them to do something else, and we parted ways. But, yeah, that was my eye-opening experience. I wasn't aware that these things actually went on, believe it or not.
Wow, you're an amazing guest. I'm really impressed. I mean, when we get back, I want to talk about Red Hot Lies and how you pegged them as how the alarmists use threats, fraud, and deception to keep you misinformed. I mean, you knew a year and a half ago when you were writing this, it's been out for a year, that this is a group who knowingly are engaged in fraud. So let's look at the scientists themselves then. You talk about GE and big banks and big corporations wanting it to pick pockets. You talk about the UN wanting it. You talk about the no-growthers, the eugenicists wanting it. But who are these scientists then? I mean, last week we got a UN document from years ago where they were directing the scientists to unify the fraud along collectivism. Amazing to have Christopher Horner on with us. I didn't read through his whole bio. It's quite amazing, and we'll be right back on the other side of this quick break. We'll tell you where to get the book as well.